So you're here representing the young part of show jumping. In this session they have talked about the harmonization and the CSI requirement. How do you see this this part?
Well, I think there's still a lot to discuss about, and still a lot of people with different opinions about it. And I think it's going to take still a long time till they come to a conclusion.
I think first of all it's great that we have some strong characters here to showcase what they really feel, and I hope that all our opinions are taken on board and we can progress and move forward.
I wouldn't be as positive. I feel that there was a lot of good points made, but I think that when the questions got difficult it was actually avoided a little bit, and that would worry me a little bit. For example, Hank Norton had a couple of very interesting questions that were kind of brushed under the rug.
So how do you see the future of this sport?
Well, at the moment not so positive, especially not for us as young riders. It's very difficult for us to get into shows. It seems like everything is getting more expensive. It is also very difficult for us because we just started, and I hope it's not turning out that way, but unfortunately it seems to go out that way.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think it is getting harder for sure to move up a level and to stay there. It's one thing to get there, and the next problem is to stay there. It seems to me the way it is going is that the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. You know, the top 15 or the phenomenally wealthy of the sport are at the top of the sport and have the best opportunities to stay there. So I just hope that there is still a chance for the likes of us that are trying to do it the hard way up.
Yeah, again, it's not overly positive. I mean, if you take this harmonization or standardization or whatever they're calling it now, and that comes into play, I think it's going to really be detrimental for young riders like us trying to come through. And again, for people that want to get involved in the sport, I think it's going to make that even harder. And I don't think the sport will grow. I think it'll do quite the opposite.
So if you could give a suggestion to them to increase the show jumping and to make it better, what would you say?
Well, I personally think it would be a good idea for shows that they would need at least a minimum of young riders and not integrated in an under 25 class, but integrated in the real competition, that they're also allowed to jump the Grand Prix and everything, but without paying for it or really qualifying it, but that just each show should have a minimum of young riders integrated in their show.
I feel the best way to protect the sport is to protect the Nations Cup, its biggest asset. I know they're trying to. I know there's a couple of different ideas being kicked about, but I do feel that something needs to be done. I'm not maybe the one to say what, but I think it needs to be protected, as it's the only way I can see myself getting there. It's the only way a young guy with a young horse, maybe a good owner, can hope to keep a horse, because it's the only way we can reach the 5-star level.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think the Nations Cup needs to be the thing for us to do. I think it needs to be the most important thing. It needs to be the highest standard, and it needs to be what we aspire to. And they need to keep building on that. Keep building on the Nations Cup.